Hello guys, this is Willem Petzer here, and I'm very happy to see that there's already almost 200 people waiting for me on the stream. Honestly, I am humbled by the amount of people whom I see have joined us here, and this is really a topic that I think is really important to talk about, and I'm glad that so many people have come up and started to watch us, and thank you very much
Hello,
for being
guys.
here. I'm sorry that I started to talk so late on the stream, but YouTube have changed their live streaming software since I've been streaming the last time, which was, as you would know, all over 2 months ago. So I didn't remember how this thing worked, and everything was strange. So I first had to figure out what was going on, and I didn't realize that I was already streaming when you guys came up. Um, okay, just so you guys know, I think many of you already know this, but before we're going to start with the actual topic of the stream, I just want to quickly talk and give a moment of silence to the Church Street bombings. This is a photo of it. The Church Street bombings that happened exactly, I think, 36 years ago. This is where the ANC had a terrorist attack on civilians in the central business district of Pretoria, and there were exactly 236 casualties. So let's just give a few seconds or a minute of silence for that, and then I'll jump right into the stream itself. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. It's good to see so many people here, and before we start the stream, I just want to tell you that we're going to have streams during this lockdown on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in English at 6 p.m. South Africa time. So, as you would know, it's 6 p.m. right now, and this is a Wednesday. And I just want to tell everyone who's not yet on the Telegram groups to get on them. The links are in the description, but on the English Telegram channel, the link is t.me/Willem Petzer. And on the Afrikaans channel, the link is t.me/Willem Petzer A. Now, on these Telegram channels, you would be able to actually to follow exactly what's going on in my life. And while I'm working on videos, I post all sorts of updates on what's going on, and I also post my videos there. So a lot of people are complaining that they don't get notifications from YouTube that I'm posting a video. So that is actually a great place where you can follow and see what videos I am actually posting. So you guys, I'm sure most of you guys have seen my videos, and the ones that I posted about the white squatter camps, I've already posted two. The first one was the SABC's conduct when they were interviewing the poor guy at the squatter camp, where they tricked him deliberately into looking like an absolute racist, and where they lied about it having a certain amount of black people in it, where they said no, black people are not allowed, but actually there are black people living there at this particular camp. Some of the other squatter camps that I went to have a deliberate policy of no blacks there, and we'll get to that later. But this particular one that the SABC went to did not have such a policy, which is quite ironic because they could have found any other one that does have such a policy. So you might have watched those, and you might know that in my second one, I went to these squatter camps, I talked to the people, and I actually made 2 trips giving food to the people in these squatter camps. And I'll show you the photos about it right now. But I just plan on doing at least 6 more trips. I plan on doing at least 6 more trips to white squatter camps because I think they really, really need the help that they can get right now. So if anyone has any information on anyone that might need food, or anyone that I might need to go to, be sure to contact me on Twitter, or contact me on Telegram, or contact me on Facebook, or wherever, and tell me about it. I would be very sorry if I do not get to your message, but you have to understand that I have quite a following on social media, and there are hundreds of people that message me every day. So I usually just scan through the messages, and if something looks important, then I click on it. But most of the time, I really just don't have time to read all the messages that everyone sent to me, especially concerning that there are usually, I would say, about 10% of them are death threats and rape threats and whatever you may have, and people just insulting me in general, and black people saying that they're going to murder my family and stuff like that. So the DMs is really a toxic place, so I don't really spend much time there. But if you want to contact me, I'll be sure to check for messages of people who want me to go to a squatters camp, a specific one, and want to give me information on when to go. Don Barnard, thank you very much for the super chat, 250 rands. I will use that definitely when I buy more food for some of these squatter camps. So thank you for that. So let me show you some of the photos. Here we go. This is my first trip. On that one, I didn't spend too much money. That's about 4,000 rands worth of food. So that's about, what was it? It was about, I think it was about 25 kilograms of wheat flour. It was about 50 liters of milk, and were 4 of those 1 kilogram cans of coffee. It's about 30 kilograms of it's 30 kilograms of sugar. The flour it was about 15 bags of 12.5 kilograms. So if you do that sum, you'll get, like, it's 225 kilograms. Sorry about that. It's 225 kilograms of flour, and that's what I went to the first camp. And there's also a bunch of salt. We took about 10 kilograms of salt as well. Well, I did. And okay, there's another photo just of the first squatter camp. There was where I gave the food to them. That was at Sonskynhoekie. That's the camp that was on the SABC News, and where I found out that the SABC reporter was there to race bait them into saying whatever they would consider racist, and to race bait them into saying things that the SABC can use for propaganda purposes. That's another one of me there. And this is actually my first trip where a friend of mine came along. So you'll see there on the one bakkie we had a ton of maize meal, a whole ton, and in the other bakkie we had just over 200 kilograms of sugar, just over 200 liters of milk. We had quite a lot of canned pilchards, and we had 12 of those cans of 1 kilogram coffee. So that's where we went, and then we went to other squatter camps. There's one photo of me at another one where I left about 2/5 of the food, and there's another squatter camp where I left another 3/5 of the food. So yeah, that's about it. I can show you these photos, and then we can get into the actual stories, and you guys can get into asking questions after that. But in any case, so what I found out from these white squatter camps was the fact that if you look at the BBC documentary, I think it was just over a decade ago, you would see that they were talking about there was about more than a few 100,000 poor white people in South Africa, and I can assure you that has changed. Like these squatter camps actually calls themselves care centers, and these care centers really do very, very good work. It's always exceptionally clean around the camp. There's always a lot of people working. People are cleaning. People are raking up. There's no smell, there's no smell that you get usually at the squatter camps. The houses are kept really, really clean, and the people are working. And a lot of people have said, no, but we need to uplift these people by getting them to get back into society by doing work. But every single one of these care centers that I went to is actually some sort of a Jewish kibbutz type situation where it's a farm, and the farmer is someone who is called, who feels the calling to help poor people, and he houses them on his farm. And in turn for that, they work on the farm, and some of them have metal works and woodworks as well. Some of them have really big workshops, and all these people work in the workshops, and they produce, and they share in the profits that these care centers make. Really, when this lockdown is over, I would really like to go to some of these care centers and make a documentary about how they are helping themselves. But they really do need, especially during this coronavirus time, they really do need food aid. Thank you very much, Derek Strydom, for the 140 Rand super chat. As I said, I'll use that as well in my next trips to the squatter camps. But in any case, so as I said, they really need this food right now. But because if you look at how it was before the coronavirus lockdown crisis, these people were, for the most part, self-sufficient. And drugs and alcohol and these things are really something that's very rare in any case in these squatter camps. So the ones that I went to were mostly very, very conservative Christian people in charge of the squatter camp, and there is quite a big Christian outlook on how they help the poor. In the sense that they do not help people who do not want to help themselves. In the sense that they would well, how shall I put it? They would give a person a chance who was on drugs to get off of it, and they would help him through the spiritual journey through Christian prayer and preaching and rehabilitation. But if someone does not want to be helped and they do not want to help themselves, they are usually given 3 strikes, and if they are on 3 strikes, they are said to leave. So these things are not happening. But as I said, coming back to the fact that they really need food now, especially during the lockdown, is because while they are really, really productive, it is almost impossible for them to sell their produce. Like one of these squatter camps that I went to had a woodwork and a metalwork industry on the farm itself, and they were making furniture, they were making pipes and all sorts of that stuff. And now they are completely unable to sell any of their produce. And the people there, it's really heartbreaking to see what's going on there. The people there that do all this work have no outcome because they can't sell that produce. Thank you very much, Jack Martin, for the 1,000 rands super chat. Of course, just like all the other ones, and thank you, Cindy Pelser, for the one that just came through. Of course, like all the other ones, I'll use it on my other trips. So I really want to make a documentary later when this lockdown is past, so people can see that these are not lazy people. And that's the very, very big difference. These people are really, really not lazy people. They really work themselves. They really work very hard. The place is kept clean. The houses are kept clean. The houses are very small, and you can see it's a very, very, very poor community. But the people have respect for themselves. The houses don't look like they're falling apart. The people do renovations on their own houses. And they usually live in very small brick houses or wood houses. It's not like the other squatter camps where you would see just people living in these tin shacks which are falling apart, and just dirt and all of that rubbish everywhere. So that's one of the positive things that I can tell you, and I can assure you these people are really doing what they can. I can assure you these people are not just lazy. I can assure you, I talk to the leaders at these camps or these care centers, and they really do not tolerate people being lazy. And they do kick out people who are lazy. They do not tolerate people who do drugs. They do not tolerate people who live a degenerate lifestyle. These people are really, really conservative Christians, and I think that is needed at these squatter camps. Someone who really has an iron fist to make sure all the people are in line, because in these poor communities there is a lot of problems, and the only way you are going to prevent them from doing that is by giving is by giving them these rules and making sure they follow the rules. Thank you, John Vincent and Derek Strydom, and also Reinhard Pretorius. There's a lot of super chats coming through, and I'm really, really grateful for this. Also, Gideon van der Merwe, Sean, Gentina, Dave, and Lawrence. Thank you very much, everyone. As I said, when I went to the squatter camps and I posted on Twitter that I'm going to go there and give them some food, a lot of people asked me they wanted to contribute. And I told them, I don't have a registered charity. I'm not going to ask anyone for money because, that opens you up for actual scams. That opens you up for people who are going to just post on Facebook. They just post photos of poor people and then they say, no, we're going to feed these people. And then many times you see that the people, they just scam you out of your money, and then you give your 100 rands or your 200 rands or your even some people 1,000 rand or whatever, and these people just keep it. So then I said on Twitter to these people, I really just want to use my own money as far as possible, or money that I make from this channel, so that I can then use that money, and so then nobody can say that I'm on a scam. So I'm happy people are actually contributing through the super chats, which is actually the money that I'm making from this channel. So it's not really a charity then, it is a for-profit business, but I can use some of that profit to go out and do more trips, because as I said, we really need this. Coming to another point, and this is actually the last point that I'm going to make before we're going to start chatting and before I'm going to start taking questions and stuff. That is the point that when I went to Sonskynhoekie, actually I wanna show you where Sonskynhoekie is. So I'm just going to go on to, let me see here. I'm just going to quickly go on to Google Maps and see if I can show you what's going on. Just give me 2 seconds for that. I want to show you where Sonskynhoekie is. Let me just search Sonskynhoekie. Alright, I just found it. Let me just make the satellite view so you guys can see the picture more clearly and switch to that screen. There we go. Okay, so this is where Sonskynhoekie is. If you see, this is Pretoria, the main part of Pretoria. This is Centurion, and then you have the industrial parts of Pretoria there, and then you have this absolute massive black area there, Soshanguve, Mabopane, all of these areas. As you can see, that the color of the map, it's that yellow brownish color, where this is a more greenish color. That whole yellow brownish color is the black squatter camps, and then you can see this is where Sonskynhoekie is. It's just on a farm here, north of Pretoria. So while they have these massive squatter camps right here, places like Sonskynhoekie were approached by people and said that they needed to house some of these 19,000 people that were let free on parole by the president, because there was this case where the president had this he just he just let free 19,000 criminals. So these people, there's just like literally 300 people living at Sonskynhoekie specifically, and these camps are being approached, and then the government told them, and this is not confirmed, this is just what they said, that they were told that they need to house some of these convicts. And then they said, no, we're sorry, we can't house these convicts because we have a very specific vetting system. For instance, in these camps, you need to be a Christian, you need to be a believer to live there, you need to contribute to the community itself, you need to produce, you need to keep your place clean, your house can't be dirty, you can't live like, just live like a savage to live there, and everyone needs to be vetted. And these people who are ex-convicts, they try to help ex-convicts previously, and the ex-convicts really just messed it up for them. So they decided that they they are unable to take them in, because taking in one convict who's going to be a criminal and who's going to steal from people and assault people and whatever other crimes there are will absolutely mess it up for all the other people living in this environment, and the produce won't be able to go on, so thus they are unable to do this. I'm just seeing there's quite a few other super chats coming through. Thank you, JM, Dani, Jacques van der Berg, and Jacques Bredenham, Chris Botha, and Rigby, as well as Johan Basson. Sorry for interrupting myself. So they said they can't house these people because it will absolutely kill the community, and it will destroy the progress that they made, and it will make it impossible for them to live their lives as they have, and to live in this kibbutz structure where they produce and they become self-sufficient. And that's when the SABC reporter was sent to Sonskynhoekie specifically, and he talked to that elderly man who you can see clearly was not very proficient in English, and he tried to bait him into saying all of these things like, black people can't be allowed because black people are racists. Or because black people are criminals. And he baited him into saying that, and then that video went viral, and that's why I responded to it on my other videos. If you haven't seen those videos, be sure to go check them out. And that's basically the narrative that we are seeing here. We see a very increased narrative of black versus white in South Africa. If you watch the SABC, if you watch what's going on Twitter, and there's this whole populist narrative being pushed here, and it's being pushed that these poor white communities are the ones that perpetrate racism. And also that I've heard a lot of complaints from these white squatter camps themselves, where the people in charge of the food there tell me, listen Willem, I know they said it's fake news, but a lot of people who try to give us food parcels, or who try to unload food here, were stopped, and they were prevented from doing it. And actually it is the law now to register as your charity, and then to first get permission from the ANC government to go to these people. But the government can't, there's no way in that legal system that the government can prevent an individual from going to these places and just buy a carload full of food and just drop it there, because that's like giving food to your friend or giving food to your mother. They can't arrest you for that. So I just didn't announce any of these trips. I just went out to the shop, and I bought a lot of maize meal. I bought a lot of whatever the people said they needed, and I just drove there and I gave it to them as an individual. And if you look at the law, how the ANC actually wrote this law, they didn't write it in a way that an individual can be prosecuted for giving out food, even though a charity or company can be prosecuted for giving food. But in any case, so that's the whole story. As I said, there's quite a long story, and I couldn't include it on my short videos because the short videos are made in such a way so that they can easily be spread and be shared. But in any case, so if you have any more questions, I would be happy to answer them, and we can turn the rest of the stream into a question and answer section. I hope you guys don't mind, but I try to keep these streams as short as I can, because a lot of people are not able to watch live, even though the ones who do want to watch live might get annoyed if they are short. But some people can't watch live, and they prefer a stream that is shorter rather than longer. So if you have questions, just tag me, as Donnie then said in the comments, and I would be happy to answer them. Let me see what I can see on this chat. I see here Redski Mountaintop says, remember the toilet rolls and toiletries, they're always in need of that. Yes, actually I only thought of that after I went and bought food for them. And I thought to myself, maybe, cleaning products and soap and that sort of stuff is also very, very necessary. And, I'm not someone who ever did any professional work in charity. I'm not like a social worker or anything. So I just took whatever came first into my mind and just bought whatever that was. The other olifant here says that the police steal a bakkie of food. I actually don't remember whether I've read any of that, but I can't confirm any of that. A-Bird says, ons samel geld in Europa in vir so werk in die Vrystaat. Kan jy dit dalk bekend maak, dit loop oor die Duitse kerk. We are making money, or we what's that in English? Sorry, my brain's not working that well right now. But in any case, they are taking contributions and putting some money together for such a project in the Free State, and they're doing this in Europe. They asked me to say that, and it's being run through the German church. I presume that would be the Lutheran Church. Thank you, Damien, for that contribution. Okay, I did talk about the toiletries. Parchment says, please don't leave YouTube again. We need you to keep doing this. Yes, I actually just had to take a break. It's just I got engaged recently, and it's just difficult to deal with the emotional stress that comes with being targeted by the media, being targeted by people on Twitter, and being targeted by everyone all the time. So I had to take a break for a few weeks, but sorry about that. Malcolm Media says, what's the logic behind releasing 19,000 criminals while at the same time arresting people for walking at the beach? I mean, there is no logic in it, except if you want to go into conspiracy theories and theorize that these criminals are set free for a specific goal, and that is to make trouble. Brett Patrick asks, are there any predictions for post-COVID-19 South Africa? Well, one thing that I can assure you is that things are not going to be the same as they were before the time. The economy is already in freefall. It was in freefall, in fact, before the lockdown. The lockdown absolutely eradicated whatever chances we had of turning that around. So I think we're going to see a massive economic collapse in South Africa. And a lot of businesses are going to close. The unemployment rate's going to go sky high through the roof. Massive corporations like Edcon's the store that owns places like Edgar's and Jet and Boardman's and so forth, announced that they will probably not be able to stay open much longer. So that's going to be the thing. We're going to see unemployment rise, and there's going to be a lot more unrest. So that's a problem. Ruan Goosen asks, how do we become less dependent on the government? What we need to achieve here is to basically build a nation within a nation. We have a nation, then that nation is South Africa, and it is being governed by the ANC, but the ANC is doing such a pathetic and terrible job that they are just really running everything into the ground. So the only way that we can combat that is to create our own nation within the nation, and to create our own ideology within this nation that is not communism, and to help each other in this way, in the same way that I'm helping these white squatter camps. We need to, as Dr. Dirk Herman said, start buying from each other, start employing our own. Everyone that is excluded by the government or anyone that's targeted by the government needs to come together and work together. Chopper says, your idea for community market is perfect, but can we all joint venture to equip to the community to produce shoes, clothes, toilet paper, hardware? We could give them a platform. Chopper, that's actually a very, very good idea. The community market idea that I was discussing on Facebook and on Twitter, you can actually check it out if you can find these posts, was just this idea that we need I actually don't call it a market because it isn't a market. A market is where anyone can just sell whatever they want, but this is more of a cooperation. And we need a centralized quality control. So, in other words, if you are a producer and you want to sell your products at the corporatie, then someone need to check that your products are on quality, so that the people who buy from the corporation can know before they buy the product that they are going to receive a high quality product. And also, one centralized cooperation will be the one responsible for all the deliveries. So, because if you're just on a market system and you just buy online, it's difficult because you don't know the quality of the product that you're going to get, and you're not going to know when it's going to come to you or whether it will be delivered. So this cooperation model actually eradicates those two problems if you have a centralized quality control and delivery system. But I'm actually very far in the works for this cooperation, and the cooperation will also take a share of the profits and it will fund this channel. But I'm very, very close to actually releasing this idea onto the internet, and that will be great. Thank you very much, Werner Hanekom, also for the contribution. Dagbreker says, it could be if they want to house 19,000 criminals in designated areas, as to change the demographics of the area for voting value. I don't see how they're going to change the demographic of this area. Let me just get that on the screen quickly. They're not going to change the voting demographic of this area, particularly by sending a bunch of criminals to this small area right here. Even if all of those criminals are of another demographic of the people living here, because this whole voting block right here is going to go to the ANC no matter what, and it's going to go to the ANC in a massive majority no matter what. And the districts here, all of this will be in the same district. So I don't see that as a possibility, but it might be just to make trouble. It might just be to make trouble all along. I don't see myself being tagged in any more questions. So I'm just going to say now that if you want to give any more super chats, now's the time to give them. And if you want to have any other questions answered, now's the time to ask them, because we'll be ending the stream in just a few minutes. Dewald Koetser asked, did you do Zimbabwe docu? Yes, we started working on it. I would say that we are roughly done with about 55 to 60% of the work in the Zimbabwe docu, but it's a huge project that we took on. We do not have the manpower. It's just myself and a few close friends working on it. So we do not have the manpower to actually make a documentary of that size and make it and finish it quickly. So we've been working very hard to get done what we have already done. But I don't know when the docu will be released, but if we can release it by early next year, then I'll be happy with that. Otherwise, it should take a bit longer. But yes, we have done a lot of work already, and there's also a lot of work to do still. So that's about that. Let's see any more questions right here. MS Canlin asks, how can we help around the country, help identify where help is needed? I think what you just need to do is just go around and see where the actual very poor areas are in your immediate area, and then individuals like myself can just go and buy a carload full of food and take it there, or a carload full of toiletries. I mean, these people are really grateful for anything. They'll basically take anything that you give to them. So that's how I can answer that question. Dominique Hubert says, how does school in these centers work? For example, WRT data. I think they mostly have community schools there, and they have like one or two teachers who teach the the children when they are at primary level, but when they go to high school, usually the kids go to some boarding school or some hostel to a bigger school. Parchment asks, do you think private security can be used to defend minorities from the government? I'm pretty sure that the private security is used right now to defend minorities mostly, but we'll see what the government's next moves are. They are very antagonistic towards minorities, but they haven't yet, as far as I know, attacked any of them. So we're lucky for that, and we pray to God that it will stay that way. But that's something that I really don't want to speculate about right here, because I don't want to say anything that might get me into a lot of trouble. Of course, guys, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to end the stream now. But thank you guys very much for watching this. I see there was a lot of people watching, 600 now. And thank you to everyone who contributed towards the conversation and towards the actual charity that we're doing. Thank you very much about that. I really didn't ask for any, contributions. I was doing this all by myself, and I really didn't expect anyone to join me in this endeavor. This was only my own endeavor. So thank you guys for watching and for always being on this channel and for sharing all of my things. You guys are the ones that make a difference. You're the ones that help me to actually make a difference and get my word out there. I know there's a lot of people, especially guys here, who always watch my video within the first hour and share it around on their social media. And thank you guys for that. I just want to end off by saying, if you want to, you can always join me for streams on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. South Africa time. We'll have one on Friday, definitely. I've already arranged that one. I'm arranging a very, very interesting one for next week Monday. That will be next week Monday, the 25th. So I'll see you guys at these streams. And if you want to have regular updates from my work, whatever's going on in South Africa, be sure to join me on Telegram. The links are in the description. But for the English channel, it's t.me/Willem Petzer, and for the Afrikaans channel, it's t.me/Willem Petzer. So thank all of you guys for everything, and I'm really grateful for everything, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone, and God bless all of you. Thank you very much.